Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
Koho'ia is when the Kuleana chooses you. I felt that way about competing for the job at Tourism Authority. Tourism as an industry has been the college I never went to, right? And so I'm very protective of it. It's like my alma mater. And when that job was open in the summer of 2020, at that point we were 100 days into COVID, right? So we were at risk from a public health standpoint, and visitor arrivals dropped in July of 2020 to about zero, right? So now economically we were in collapse, right? And frankly, we didn't know where the floor of that collapse was at that time. And, I live in Kona. My daily patterns are built around residing in Kona. And choosing to compete for an executive position in Honolulu meant that my wife, our lives would, be in an upheaval. But we're not raising children of our own, right? So when we finally sat down and talked about it in depth, we realized that we were basically as flexible and free as a 35-year-old, right? And she encouraged me to go for it. And we did. That whole process was cathartic in many ways, right? At that time, there were like 324 applicants for it. It was cathartic for me in the sense that I had to understand, I knew what I could do. What I had to come to grips with is, why am I doing it, right?
Yeah.
Why at this stage would you go do that? Right? In fact, in the weeks leading up to my decision to go compete, I had actually talked to two candidates, next generation type, right? And to encourage them to become candidates. I thought they had the game to do it. And then I went back to Kona and I started getting phone calls and text messages from people encouraging me to consider it. And what struck me was the diversity of the people who were calling and reaching out, right? I would expect industry professionals that I had worked with, former elected officials, right? What I didn't expect was leaders in the nonprofit arena, Native Hawaiian groups, right? And again, we're now in the introductory weeks of COVID. And so for me, ultimately, there was a mantra that evolved for me and became a source document presented to the selection committee, Malama Ku'uhome, or caring for my beloved home. When I started to raise the question about why am I doing this, it actually had less to do with tourism and more to do with caring for a place I love, right? My home, Hawaii. And recognizing that tourism was an instrument that, when applied correctly, could help elevate the quality of life, right? Restore the economy. And so Malama Ku'uhome became kind of the internal guiding principle during the time at HTA.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.